Hey guys, Jody Holland here. Welcome to Whiteboard Chats. We're going to talk a little bit about generations and value-based diversity here. There are 4 active generations that are in the workplace right now. We have the baby boomers, and they sometimes get a bad rap with okay boomer when people get frustrated with their lack of use of technology compared to the younger generations. But they were a powerhouse in this country, building a lot of the entrepreneurial ventures that exist today that have made their kids and their grandkids wealthy. Next generation we have is Generation X. Now, Gen X is the smallest of the generations. What's interesting about the transition from boomers to Xers is boomers were the largest generation that we had ever seen in the US workforce, followed by the smallest, Gen X, which is part of what the issue is right now on our lack of employees is there were 46 million Xers and 80 million boomers. Next comes the millennial generation, sometimes known as Gen Y. So a couple of different names that are in there, but this generation is back up to about 76 million people in the generation. Fantastic group of people, but there are very distinctive differences between the older millennials and the younger millennials. I would argue there's really 3 generations packed into that one generation, the millennials. The reason I say that is a lot of the older millennials look at the younger ones and go, don't lump me in with that group. I'm not like them. I'm so different. You'll see a lot of variation from the start to the end, but the thing that you will notice is they are driven. They do want to be in charge, and they were told most of their life that they would make an impact. This is where one of the other issues comes in that we've been facing, is that if you're told your whole life you're going to make an impact, then you get a job and you're told go over there and do paperwork. It doesn't feel like an impact. So we have to be very intentional with millennials and younger to make sure that we're giving them an opportunity that feeds into their need for purpose. Purpose is one of the biggest drivers for that generation. Then finally, our youngest generation that we have in the workplace is Gen Z. They started entering the workplace about 5 years ago, and what you notice in any generational cycle is around the 6-year mark, their values have really taken over most of the workplace. That's the other thing that I think we're facing right now is every time we have a new generational cycle, 4 to 6 years into the oldest of them going to work, we start changing up the way that we look at values in the workplace and we start changing the format of work. We are seeing that big time right now. The pandemic accelerated it, but I'm going to tell you, Generation Z, about 75 million strong, they're going to change the game at work. You're going to see a lot more flexibility at work. You're going to see a lot more casual dress. You're going to see major changes over the next 4 or 5 years, all to compensate for how we're going to attract, develop, and retain the youngest of the workers. When you look at these 4 active generations, though, you're going to see that there is such a wide variety of values because they grew up with such different things in their life. I would encourage you to take a look at the generations. Just kind of a quick pitch here, but in our Leadership Academy, that's the basis for everything that we do is we take it from a generational perspective because the values that we have determine the way that we work. I'm Jody Holland. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Whiteboard Chats.